Hey everybody, it's Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel here. Hey, I've got the Zino 2 out again. Hubsan is pushing firmware updates. It looks like hot and heavy here. They came out with a new flight control firmware, version 1.2.0. So the last one was 1.1.9. Looks like they graduated to a 2 in that middle number here. So basically all it says something about affecting the battery reading or some such. So I mean, we'll take a look at that. Usually in those notes, it's really tough to tell exactly what it is. A lot of times there's other features they put in there that don't show in the notes, and sometimes it's tough to tell even from the notes exactly what it is. But anyway, we'll take a look at that. But mostly today, on my last video, I was messing around with the function button on the remote control here. And I asked commenters to help me out if they knew what, exactly what that did. Well, evidently it works just like I thought it did. The problem was I was holding down the button instead of just tapping it. So the trick is you just tap it. So we're going to mess around with that. We're going to try some more precision landings. I'm kind of on a sidewalk here, and I've got the orange side up on the pad today, so we'll give that a shot just for the fun of it. We're going to try some more landings. My friend Ron Brown pointed out to me that when he lands his Phantom 4, etc., he puts it into cinema mode, really slow movement. So I'm going to put this thing into film mode and try some more manual landings and see what we can see. I can tell you, when I reviewed that footage that I took last Friday, I did notice some things about that landing, and we'll talk about them as we do that. So anyway, let's quit messing around. Let's get this bird in the air. Okay, I'm switching the drone into video mode, and I want to take a look here at what our settings are at. So we're at 4K, 30 frames per second. White balance is automatic, and I don't want that. I'm going to put that on sunny day so we get the best look there. And it says 97% battery. I did do, with this same battery is the one that I did the firmware update on. The drone is reporting ready to fly. Okay guys, I just learned something else here. One of my commenters also mentioned the other day that you can change the screen, the brightness of the display on the screen here by holding down the function button and using the scroll wheel, and that does indeed work. There's no way I'm going to get a good picture of that, but I can tell you, hold the function button down, hold that scroll wheel down, and you'll see it dim or brighten. And of course I would say you'd always want it on full bright. Okay guys, I'm going to start recording here, and let's put this bird in the air. So I'm going to do an automatic takeoff here. Let me step out of the way so you can see it. And we had just a very, very slight drop there. You can see the drone moving around now. I'm not touching the controller, and it was moving to the left, and we had a little breeze come up here. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back in here. It's rolling around. Get you a good look at the drone, and as I yaw the drone, it moved around just a little. I'm going to put it into film mode here and see if that helps. It actually does help it a little bit. So I can bring it in a little closer. So we've got some people playing frisbee golf out in the field here, so we're going to try and stay out of their way. But anyway, I think there's nothing left to do at this point except for to do our usual manual droning. So I'm going to put it back into normal mode. So it's in normal, and we're recording. So reversing up. Yeah, and I moved the drone to the to my left because I wanted to stay away from over the top of those houses. Let's drop the gimbal down here a little bit. And that was a pretty quick yaw right there. Okay, so I'm thinking we probably just should try our first precision landing here. So let's do that right now. I'm going to hit, well, let's hit return to home on the controller. And I actually could hear the audible return to home there. So let's try. I hit the function button, and that indeed did stop the beeping. So that's cool. So I wonder if that function button also stops those audible warnings too. That's possible. So I'm going to turn off recording here so that it'll do a precision landing. It uses the camera on the drone for precision landing. I can tell you it's a ways off here. Yeah, it's looking now. Yeah, it's got the target. Yeah, we might get it. And remember, this is orange side up. Okay, it's about to come in view of the camera here, the Canon camera. And it's even got the orientation right. I think we might get this, guys. It's alternating green and white on that target. Oh, we're going to get it. I'm saying, well, maybe not. At the last minute, it moves around. So one thing I want you to note is if you look at the altimeter on the telemetry at the bottom of the screen, you'll see that the drone still thinks it's 0.8 of a meter off the ground. So when it lands there and you hear it still spinning the motors, I'm willing to bet that's why. And I have no idea why that telemetry is off, but it is. And I noticed that when I was messing around with my video the other day. But that's pretty close. Let's get it up in the air again and try some more stuff. Okay, let's do a manual takeoff here and see if it makes a difference. Both sticks out. That arms the motors, then left stick up. Let's start the recording now. So instead of, we're going to try something that I've done before here. And we got that big cell tower right there. Let's see if we can get it to do an orbit around that cell tower. This is a fast drone, folks, I'm just telling you. There we are, there's the tower. See if we can get over the top of it here. Oh, we're close. I'm going to try and center it right over the top of the cell tower here. I'm going to go into film mode. That's pretty darn close. I noticed my my grid lines are gone. Okay, guys, we're probably just about as close as we're going to get to the center of that tower. So let's go into orbit mode here, and we're going to, oh, I forgot all of that, and I forgot the GPS accuracy test. The Zino 1 would ask you to do that before you took off. So it's not going to do it. We're not going to be able to do that. So so what we're going to do is we're going to bring the drone back here, and we're going to do a manual landing. So, you know, while we're at it, hey, we're in a position here. We got the camera pointed straight down. Let's try that function button. So I'm going to go into the controller function here, and I have it currently set as no function. So we're going to hit that, and we're going to hit gimbal recovery level, and then get out of there. And the gimbal is pointed straight down. And the mistake I made last time was I held this button down. So I'm just going to punch it once, and you'll see it will pick the gimbal back up to a level position. There you go. And now on most drones, like on the FIMI X8SE or a DJI drone, if I hit it again, it would drop it down. This drone does not do that. I'll hit it again, and it doesn't do anything. So it doesn't, like I said, a DJI drone or the FIMI, you can have it go full down or full up by hitting that button. But it's a handy feature to have, because if you're looking down at something for some reason and you want to see where you're going, you can just hit that button and look straight up. So anyway, let's quit messing around. Let's bring the thing back, and let's do a manual landing, and then we'll do a compass calibration, or not a compass calibration, a GPS accuracy test. Drop the camera down here so you can see where we're at, and here we come. Oh, I forgot I'm in film mode. I better speed it up here. Put it in normal mode, and it'll be much faster. And we're dropping altitude here. Okay, so I'm going to put it back into film mode, and we're going to see if we can do a little better job at manual landing. And let's try to be a little bit more accurate. And I want you again to watch the telemetry on the drone's altitude, and as well as we'll listen to see if it tells me that it goes in landing mode or not. We're going to drop it down here a little bit more. Come in just a little. Move it to the side. And so my hands are off the controls, and you can see the drone moving around. I mean, this is it. This is in film mode. The drone, you know, it's moving around. So that's what makes getting an accurate landing with this thing difficult. So I'm going to pull it right back over the top again, and I'm going to hold the stick down. We're at 1.8 meters high, so that should be fine. I'm going to hold the stick down. And it did go into landing mode there at the very end. It was probably less than a foot off the ground before it did. And you can see on the telemetry, when it first landed, it said half a meter. And I just hit that function button to lift that up. Yeah, so now it's wobbling within 6 and 7. And once it landed, it was still spinning those motors for a while after it landed, instead of just shutting them off. So I think that's probably kind of a basis for some of the issues that people, including myself, have had. Anyway, that's something for Hubsan to work on, and we'll try a couple more of those here before we take off. But we're going to do that GPS accuracy test right now. So I'm going to go into the main menu here, start GPS accuracy test. I'm close enough here to do it. And I'm going to tell you that on this particular drone, unlike the original, it gave me a good that says it's good. The original Zino would prompt you to do that before you took off, or if you started video or something. This drone doesn't do that. So if you forget to do it when you take off, you can't get into those intelligent flight modes. So yeah, I think we should go back over the top of the cell tower and try that. See if we can do an orbit. And that's one of the cool things about the Zino, is that you can pick a spot back off and you can do a perfect orbit with it. Okay, auto takeoff. You know, I'm so used to the original Zino, I actually hit the landing button on the remote there. So it's a little different on the Zino 2. It does not have a landing button on the remote or on the app like you're used to with the original Zino. So I'm going to hit takeoff, auto takeoff on the app, and here we go. And it's still in film mode here. Boy, you talk about the Hubsan drop. If that wasn't it, I don't know what. So it does have those downward facing sensors. I'm going to put it into normal mode here. Let's pick it up a little bit. I'm going to demonstrate those sensors again. Let's bring it back. We looked at this the other day. So the sensors on this drone are right at the very back of it. So I'm going to put my hand up, and what we expect to see is the drone to rise. And it did just fine the other day. Well, it moved the drone. It actually rose the other day, rose straight up. Let's try that one more time. It's just a tough drone to be very accurate with. I mean, it moves around. I mean, I'm not touching the sticks right now. So there you saw it move up, not terribly dramatically, but it did move up. Okay, let's go up to that tower and let's see if we can do a circle. Okay, dropping the camera down 90 degrees here. See if we can just kind of get over the top of the thing. Look at that, I was pretty darn close. Holy cow. I think I nailed that. I think we're good there. So hit that function button, pick the camera back up, and we're going to go into the little, looks like a propeller or a drone there at the top, orbit mode. And I'm going to set the aircraft's current location as the point of interest. You can either use the transmitter or the aircraft's current location. We're going to pick that. Next step is we have to back the drone off now. So we're going to back it up. Let's go about 25 meters. Yeah, looks like I well overshot that, about 40 meters there. So that's good. Execute immediately, and let's crank it up here. And we can hide this dialog box. And let me drop the gimbal down so we can kind of see it. We can see that tower in the center of the picture there. So that is one of the really cool things about the Zino. For instance, you cannot do that with the Mavic Mini. I've tried before, and it just doesn't work well. The Mini, if you've got yourself as the point of interest and you're pretty close, you can do a pretty good orbit. But this thing, you can either pick the controller as the orbit point, or when you're setting a landmark like this, man, that's just really cool to be able to do that, I think. And you get that perfect orbit. Okay, so while we're doing this, let's test that mode function. So on the function button, so let's go back in there and let's go into controller again, and we're going to change the function of that button to exit the current mode. Now, if it does what I think it'll do, it should stop the stop this rotation of the orbit. So let's get out of there, and we're orbiting. I'm going to show you. I'm going to hold the button down, or give it one punch. Don't hold it down, just give it a push. And it did perfectly. So it stopped that orbit. So hey, that's pretty cool. We know what that's all about now and how that works. So that is handy as heck. Okay, let's bring it back in here, and let's do another. Well, let's try another precision landing. How about that? We're far enough away. So I'm going to hit on the controller again here. Return to home, and it's returning, and it's ascending to height. I have the return to home height set at 50 meters, so it's ascending to that. Yeah, I see people starting to come out now. It's really a warm afternoon, but they're keeping their distance, which is good. Everybody is walking, but they're staying well away from each other. It's a tough day today, you know. It's such a nice sunny day. It's hard to stay inside. But we all have to, obviously. We need to take this seriously. Okay, I'm going to turn off recording, and let's see if the drone will find the pad here. It dropped the camera, and it's searching. Oh, there's that target. Orange side up. Looking good. It's got a green light on there. We might get this, folks. We'll see. I think what happens to some of these drones when they're trying to do a precision landing, you'll see them at the very end. They'll go one way or the other. The Fimi 8 does that too. I think that's the cushion from the prop wash. You know, I don't know if that's exact. There, it's coming down. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, that's. Hey man, that's 4 feet on the. You can see that there. Yeah, 4 feet on the pad. So I'm going to call that good. Also notice that it's showing that it's 4/10 of a meter high, and it waited a while before it shut off the props. So anyway, just for what it's worth. But that one, it hit it pretty darn good. If you ever watch Quadcopter 101, he explains a thing called vortex ring state, which I believe is just the opposite of this. And what he's saying is that and helicopters run into this. They actually run into their own prop wash, and they'll drop. Then they won't get any lift. This seems to be kind of the opposite of that. So I'm not an aeronautical guy, so I don't exactly understand it. But I noticed it with the Fimi X8 is when it gets right close to the pad, it will tilt to one side or the other. And this drone kind of does that too. Okay, we're down to 40% battery, so let's get it in the air, and we'll probably try another 1 or 2 manual landings. Starting video now, and I don't know, maybe we'll take a look at some of the other intelligent flight modes here. So let's do a manual takeoff. Arm the motors, both sticks out. Yeah, so I could hear it that time. It was telling me that it marked the GPS point, the home point. So we're going to go straight up. Drop the camera just a little bit. Let's go out there. Well, I'll tell you what, this is a fast drone. That is just in normal mode, and it definitely hauls the mail. Let's turn it around and face it this direction. And I'm going to drop the gimbal, and let's go into, let's try a line fly. So I'm going to go in there. I'm going to go down here to line fly mode, and so you have to set the angle, and so I want it to go to my right, so I believe that is going to be 270 degrees. If I wanted to go to the left, I would set it on 90, so let's, oh man, that is so hard to get right on. There we go. Hey, I got it. 270. Okay, and then distance we're going to go. Oh wow, they've upped that. You used to only be able to go 100 meters. Look at that, they have really changed that. So I don't want to go that far. We're going to go 100 meters. And relative height and speed, so we want to set, let's move the speed up. Not too fast, about 4 meters per second, 3.9, close enough. So I don't know what they mean by relative height there. We're gonna have to figure that out, but then we can preview it here and it'll bring up the map. And yeah, that is exactly what I wanted it to do. So let's execute immediately. And the line fly has begun. Tell me battery is at 30%. And what's cool is it shows the difference between me and where the drone is at. And it stopped now. So we'll bring it back. Let's turn the aircraft towards us here. And we're at 29%. And we have got an airliner way above us. Don't see many airliners nowadays. Okay, bringing it down. Camera back up. Boy, the drone is dry. My hands off the controls and the drone just really dropping there. So I'm going to put it back in film mode again, and I'm going to see if I can get it to hold over the top of the pad and land it. I'm not touching the controls. Not touching the controls when you see the drone moving backwards. And there, oh, it went into return mode. That was what happened there, and it landed. It landed all by itself. So I think it must have hit the point that it. Yeah, that it thought it needed to land, because it said return mode at the top of the screen there. That was because of battery level. So I must have been looking at the drone when the dialog box came up, so I didn't see that. But anyway, so it's telling me that it needs me to get a high-speed card, which I do have a U3 card in there. And it's worked fine on previous flights, so not sure what's going on there. But we'll let's. Oh, it shut off. Evidently, I'm going to say that when it finished that line fly, it shut off recording. That's another thing that you need to remember. In like when you do a panorama shot or line fly, when it completes, it will turn off recording. So I didn't notice that. But we'll have the screen recording from the app here. Let's take off one more time and let's try another landing. I'm going to start recording now. Yeah, it won't let me. It won't even let me start recording. It says that the card speed is too low. That is very interesting that all of a sudden it decides that that card is too slow. You know, this is my third time out with the drone, or fourth time out with the drone, and all of a sudden it's been the same card the whole time. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see if it'll let us take off. Put an auto takeoff. So we are in film mode here. So I just kind of interesting to show you how slow it is in film mode, which is good. Okay, I'm going to bring around here and I'm going to try another manual landing. Look at how slow that baby moves. And it's rising. I mean, I'm not touching the left stick and it rises up. I'm telling you guys. It's a Zino. I love it. I love the drone, but it's a Zino. Okay, it's in hover mode. Let's see if we can, I'm going to hold the stick down and it moved over. So I held the stick down there. Eventually, it got about, I mean, I'm going to say less than a foot off the ground before it went into landing mode. And then it did. Again, what's odd is I didn't get that audible warning. I didn't hear the audible landing mode, but I did see it on the screen. And then you saw it run the motors there for a second. So, you know, I'm just telling you, that's just something that, it's just a quirk of this drone that we're going to have to deal with. Hey guys, I'm kind of breaking in here. I thought of something else. I noticed I wanted to see how much battery I had used on the controller, and I used about a quarter of the battery. It's reading about 3/4 right now, and I had my iPhone fully charged. So just wanted to let you know how much battery I used, because I know this is a concern. After I ended that video, I thought of something else that I wanted to say to everybody. You know, we're all dealing with the COVID-19 virus right now. Everybody's a little bit on edge. People are stressed out. People are out of work. We've got a lot of first responders, medical personnel, people working in grocery stores, people in the transportation industry, which is where my background is, that are working really hard right now to make sure our grocery store shelves are full, and that everybody's getting the medical care that they need, performing vital functions in our society. So what I want to say is we need to be nice to each other. When that truck is trying to change lanes on the freeway, please let him in. He's probably carrying some groceries that you need. If you're online and you see somebody that posts something on Facebook that you don't like, don't flame them. They're just as stressed out as everybody else. So let's all try for a little while here to be kind. Well, we should do it always, but particularly now, to be kind to each other. And if you've got a neighbor that you're concerned about, I'm not saying go knock on their door. I'm saying give them a call and make sure that they're okay. Find out if there's anything they need, and if you can help them out, do it. This is a time when we all just need to take care of each other here for a while. I'll keep flying these drones if I can, and provide a little bit of entertainment, and we'll all just do our best. Okay guys, so the Hubsan Zino 2, we took it up for a little flight today, primarily to look at that, demonstrate the firmware upgrade to 1.2.0. I didn't notice anything different. I didn't notice anything different with the battery. I didn't notice, which is what they said it was for, but probably oftentimes maybe the best firmware updates are the ones you don't notice. What we did look at is, we know how that function button operates now. So you can use it either to pick the gimbal of the camera back up, or you can use it to exit one of the intelligent flight modes. The key is just a quick short press rather than holding it down, which is what I did the first time I tried it on my last flight. The other thing that it can do is it can change the brightness of the LCD screen, or the LED screen, excuse me, on the controller. You hold the function button down and you use the scroll wheel, and it'll take it dimmer to brighter. I mean, I suppose you would, I can't imagine why you wouldn't always leave it on bright. I suppose maybe if you were flying at night or something, but for the most part you'd just leave that on full bright. It will also stop the beeping. When it's in return to home, it's beeping. Press that button, hold it down for a second, and the beeping will stop. So that's handy. That's something DJI could learn from Hubsan for sure. We did a couple different landings. We did 2 precision landings. One of them was kind of part on the pad and part off. The other one was full on the pad, so I'm going to call that successful. We tried a couple manual landings. I put it in film mode to kind of slow it down. It's just difficult. This guy just moves around a lot. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say. Like I said, that's not a terrible thing. But for instance, if you were landing the Mavic Mini, hey, it would just hold its spot. You hit the down button, it goes into landing mode. Boop, it's down. This guy also runs the motors for a second, and that's what people have reported about the drone turning over or spinning around on them. I pointed out to you also about the altitude on the telemetry. It still shows the drone, even when it lands, is, you know, sometimes as much as a meter off the ground or half a meter or so. So that tells you it doesn't know exactly where it's at in space, and that kind of explains why some of those landings can be a little bit more difficult. But it works fine. You know, we did the rotation around the cell tower here. I mean, this guy is just awesome for that kind of work. It does it really well, and there's other drones that aren't as good at it as this guy. This is also a high performance beast. We didn't put it in sport mode today, but you saw me moving it around in just in normal mode, and it's I can tell you, it is really fun to fly. You know, that brings up another subject. The Fimi X8 is also a very powerful drone, and I had it out on loan, and my friend Ron Brown sent it back to me, and I was inspecting it because it's, like I said, it's a high-powered drone, and I'd had people warn me about it. They said, hey, you got to look at those arms on that thing. And in fact, one guy told me, because you know what, just don't ever fly that drone in sport mode, because he said those arms are weak. And sure enough, on that Fimi, I found a crack in the arm, and I'm just grateful that it didn't break on Ron, and I'm glad that I found it. So I'm going to say this guy, because it's so powerful. This is the fastest drone I've ever owned. I've had this thing up to 47 miles an hour. It's faster than my Mavic 2. I would make a habit of inspecting those arms once in a while, just, you know, especially after you've had the drone for a while, just to make sure, right? So anyway, gosh, I guess that's about it. I hope you found this video helpful today and learned some stuff. I learned some things. I'm really enjoying this drone. Great video, great performance, awesome little piece. Thank you, Hubsan, for providing this to us. I got it on that initial price of $399. I know it's higher than that now. I expect prices will probably come down a little bit, but it's still well worth it. You can buy it on Hubsan's website for $499 with one battery. Well worth it. The trick is to go get the 2 battery version, which I see they kicked it up now. It's $599, but that's a great deal because you get the carrying case and you get an extra battery for $100 more bucks. So that's probably the one for $600. Probably not a bad deal. So it's a really high performance drone for that price. Anyway, that's it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel out. And if you like this kind of video, please subscribe to my channel. And most of all, I just appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And we will see you on the next one.